You're watching To The Point. A Gujarat government bill making voting in local bodies compulsory has received the governor's assent. As soon as rules are framed, this will be the law of the state. But this measure raises deeper questions that have not been adequately covered. Is compulsory voting practical in a country like India? More importantly, is it constitutionally acceptable, or does it breach freedom of speech, which necessarily includes freedom of silence? That's the debate in part two. But first, as the Aam Aadmi Party gears up for elections in Delhi, an opinion poll has suggested that the BJP will sweep the Delhi Assembly. Aam Aadmi could be reduced to just 18 seats. In addition, the party also faces growing factionalism, whilst older questions about Arvind Kejriwal's leadership and behaviour refuse to go away. So what are the prospects of the Aam Aadmi Party? What is its state of health? And is it prepared to grapple with the deeper issues it faces? That's the first discussion tonight. And now joining me to talk about the Aam Aadmi Party's prospects and problems is one of its founding and most senior leaders, also its chief spokesperson, Yogendra Yadav. Yogendra Yadav, a poll published yesterday by AAP Nielsen says that BJP will sweep the Delhi Assembly, winning 46 out of 70 seats, which is virtually a two-thirds majority. In contrast, your party, the Aam Aadmi, will be reduced to just 18 seats. So do you accept that the chances of your returning to power in Delhi are very poor indeed?
You don't expect me to begin by saying all these polls are trash. You know, these survey walas, they don't know anything. You don't expect me to say that, don't you? Look, surveys are serious stuff. They are a good feedback. I watched that show, but you may have missed the other news, which is just a couple of hours ago. Another channel, another agency, which this channel used to use till last year, they say the gap between Aam Aadmi Party and BJP is only 4%. Similar survey, and they actually say it's a Congress which is taking a nosedive. There are two opinions. I'm not saying this one is better because it happens to favor my party.
So you're not writing yourself off?
Not at all, Karan. The important thing is, look, we faced a very bad defeat in the Lok Sabha election. Our vote share went up to 32, yes, but we lost all the 7 seats. From there onwards, we have gone up.
Well, we don't know whether you've gone up or not.
That's what the polls are saying.
The problem is that in the Lok Sabha, of the 28 assembly seats you won in December 2013 at the Vidhan Sabha level, in 24 of them at the Lok Sabha level, you suffered serious reverses. That is a very bad augury for what could happen in January, February when Delhi goes to the polls again.
Provided we have a replay of the Lok Sabha election. That's the whole point. In fact, that's a lesson you get even from the survey you quote of the yesterday. Yesterday's survey brings out, because I take surveys seriously, and I think there's something to be learned for everyone. I wouldn't do the usual political
And I'm
action.
delighted you're accepting the surveys as serious and not knocking them.
Yeah, I could possibly do that.
Let me tell you why the survey that you're accepting as serious actually is a good indicator of the troubles ahead. It's not just that you fared badly in May. Since then, you look like a divided party. Prominent personalities like Shazia Ilmi and Maninder Singh Dheer have either parted company or are about to do so. Many of your MLAs are agitated, largely because they're not going to get their nominations and seats again. Some are even choosing to publicly revolt. Now, a divided party is the worst way of beginning a campaign to get re-elected.
Karan, let's go one by one. First, the poll. Clearly, I take it seriously. I'm saying there are two different readings we've already received in the last 24 hours. Let's wait another 24 hours, maybe we'll get 3 readings.
Let's put the polls aside. Let's come to your factionalism.
Even from that polls, the important thing that comes is, if you ask, in the poll that showed we are doing very badly, you ask people, what do you think of the 49-day government of Arvind Kejriwal? 63% are saying that was a good government.
I'll come to that in a moment's time, because actually that 63% is to be divided and understood differently to what you're presenting it as. Let's first come to the question. No, let's come first to this question of factionalism. You're today a divided party. You weren't that divided in May. You certainly weren't that divided last year in December. Shazia Ilmi and Maninder Singh Dheer, he was your speaker, a close to parting company. 4 or 5 of your MLAs are in a state of revolt because they believe they will be denied tickets. This divided house is the wrong way of trying to win back power in Delhi. That puts you at a further disadvantage.
Karan, this reminds me of another discussion we had, I think about 3 months ago. That day also you felt the party was about to come apart. I don't blame you.
It is now coming apart.
That's what has been projected for quite some time. The usual story I hear is, since Lok Sabha election, you've had exodus. I usually say, all right, let's now start naming. Everyone names Shazia,
all these people
which is very important.
Rajesh Garg of Rohini, Harish Khanna of Timarpur, Maninder Singh Dheer, your speaker.
I'm just coming to this
Shazia
one by
Ilmi.
one.
The numbers are proliferating.
Karan, I'm just coming to this one. I'm not denying anyone. I'm not escaping any name. Don't worry. They are there. Everyone says your party has had exodus. And I usually ask them, all right, so let's get 10, 15 of those names. Everyone says Shazia Ilmi, and then they start looking for the second name.
But I've just given you 6.
The second thing is, once elections are announced, Karan, you've been watching politics for what? 3 decades, I guess it. Please name to me one single political party of this country in one single election where people did not leave their part. Some people did not.
You're saying this is normal politics before an election.
Just when election come, and in the case of 2 of them, Rajesh Garg and Harish Khanna, they have voluntarily said they do not want to contest elections.
I'll accept your argument. Others may not. I will. Let's come to this great figure you presented of 63% believing that in fact the 49-day government was a good government. The problem is that does not reflect the middle-class Delhi voter, who by and large is actually now alienated from you. And what's alienated the middle-class voter was in fact the fact that Arvind Kejriwal, after 49 days cut and run, that while he was there, he was staging dharnas, which people thought was a peculiar thing for a chief minister too. And then Somnath Bharati's high-handed behavior. Most of this middle-class chunk that were loyal to you have switched to the BJP. You've lost them. Your support now remains in what's called JJ colonies, right? And in what are called in Delhi slums. Whether they come out and vote in large numbers again is a gamble, but that's all you're left with.
Short of the final sentence that you gave a twist to.
All you're left with.
Otherwise, I think what you're making is a very reasonable point. Look, we face a challenge. The challenge is quite clearly of 2 kinds. There were people who loved us. Everyone knows, and what is the point in hiding these things? I'm just coming to it. Give me a moment. I would say it probably in a way which is harsher than yours. We are a political startup. We came, we went up. There was a spike. We've come down. I mean, there's no one can deny this. The question is, one, whether after we've come down, are we still higher than where we started from? And number 2, what is the challenge we face? As I can see, there are 2 clear challenges. One, there are one set of people who say, we gave you a chance, we wanted you to be there, but after 49 days you gave up the government. That just annoys me so much. And there's another set who say, and I'm going to say it, Karan, before you say, they said, well, you are good at agitations, but can you govern? We don't know. These are the 2 challenges we face, and these are the 2 things we are trying to address.
There's a third challenge, and in a sense it's the bigger of the 2 that you've mentioned. It's the challenge of Mr. Modi's appeal. Mr. Modi has caught the country's fascination. The way he won in Haryana and Maharashtra suggests that people are prepared to continue to believe in him. Whatever doubts the press may begin to express or his critics may express, that hasn't caught on with the people. And the logic that won him in Haryana and Maharashtra is likely to win him Delhi as well. That's the third challenge to which you have no answer.
I was speaking of challenges directly coming from our action and our behavior. Mr. Modi is clearly a challenge, and no one denies that. The crucial difference between Maharashtra, Haryana and Delhi is this. In Maharashtra, the option you had against BJP and Shiv Sena was Congress and NCP, the most discredited, seeped in corruption, things that their chief ministers themselves now would admit. In Haryana, the option against the Congress regime was INLD. And people remembered the way they ran the government.
The fallacy in your argument is that people are looking for an option other than the BJP. I put it to you that that's no longer the case. Many people today say, with a strong, powerful, Modi-led BJP government in Delhi, the wisest thing for Delhi is to have a BJP government in Delhi as well, not an opposition Aam Aadmi Party government, which suggests they're not looking for an option to Mr. Modi. They're looking for a way of replicating Mr. Modi through another BJP government. That's why the challenge is an insuperable one for you.
That's your reading of Maharashtra and Haryana. I happen to come from Haryana. My reading is the following. People wanted a relief from the existing government, and the only real option they could look at was the BJP. In the case of Maharashtra, again, only one real option, or maybe BJP Sena combined. In Delhi, let's say they have at least 2 options to choose from. While we have seen Mr. Modi's magic work where there are no options, as the by-elections in many places showed, wherever there is some kind of an option, it doesn't always work. So Mr. Modi's charisma is context-specific, situation-specific.
Let me put it like this. Your sole hope of winning Delhi is that people are looking for an option or an alternative to Mr. Modi. If you're correct, let me finish. If you're correct in the belief that people want an alternative or an option to Mr. Modi, you are the only credible one available. I grant it, you could win. If, however, people are investing faith in Mr. Modi and wanting to replicate Mr. Modi in Delhi, not look for an option but a way of having him, even though he's Prime Minister, having a government that comes under him, then in fact you're in serious trouble. We'll only know the answer to that.
You didn't get my argument at all. My argument was that people wanted an alternative to the then ruling party. In these two states, there was one option.
If they're looking for an alternative to the then ruling party, it's an alternative to you. To you. You were the last ruling party.
So, yeah, exactly. Now we are saying, at the state level, in other states, there was only one serious option. In Delhi, there are more than one. But I'll rephrase what you said. Our only hope of winning Delhi is to convince the people of Delhi that we are having an assembly elections in Delhi, not a Lok Sabha election. There you are right.
Absolutely. And given what happened in Haryana and Maharashtra, as I interpreted it, your hope of being able to convince them of the difference between an assembly and a national election, where Modi is the blurring feature and with his magnetism, that hope is a small hope.
We probably
it's
disagree.
Not a big hope.
I thought in Haryana there was a proper assembly election and people thought in assembly setting they have no option other than this. Delhi also has an assembly election. As we move closer to assembly election, people will begin to see it more like an assembly election, less like a Lok Sabha election.
Let me put a second predicament of your position. You're accepting that in fact many people were put off by a 49-day government. Many people were put off by the fact that your chief minister was staging dharnas as chief minister, which they thought was inappropriate. A lot of people were put off by Somnath Bharati's behavior. You're hoping, praying with your fingers crossed, that people will say, forgive them their lapses, give them a second chance. You're actually hoping for the triumph of hope over experience. Most people go by experience and say, once bitten, twice shy, inko to phir lana hi nahi hai.
Can I now say something? The first principle of natural justice is the following. No one is punished twice for the same crime. I agree that when Arvind Kejriwal left power, people were annoyed. We were wrong in our judgment. We were mistaken. And we got punished in the Lok Sabha election. We got punished not because of our immorality, not because of our corruption, but because our judgment was wrong. We made an error. We got punished. I do not think the people of this country will punish us twice for the same thing.
People, they felt betrayed. Betrayal is a sentiment that lasts perhaps longer than you realize.
Even before you said that, I said we have two challenges. Those who feel we left after 49 days, we should have continued, and those who said, well, they don't quite know how to govern. So yes, we have both the challenges, and yes, we are coming out with answers to
virtually saying the same thing in different language to each other.
Yeah, yours is a little more masala.
Well, not more masala, a little harder. Yours is a little bit more hopeful. Let's put it like this. If you were to come a distant second, as at least the AAP Nielsen poll is suggesting, by the way, even the second poll suggests you're coming second, just the distance is narrower. But if you come a distant second, can you live for 5 more years to fight again? Or is there a real possibility that over the space of 5 years, your party will break, maybe even wither away? Because you'll be out of power, out of resources, and the hope of the next election will be so far away, 5 years, most people will say, chodo, they are written off. So I'm saying to you, the next election is a survival election for you.
I don't agree with that. It is a serious challenge. It's something which matters a lot to us. That's why colleagues from all over the country are coming to Delhi. Yes, we take this election seriously, but that doesn't mean, I mean, in media we're given to this this or nothing survival and things of that kind. I think, you know, what we forget is what kind of phenomena Aam Aadmi Party represents. It represents, you just spoke about.
Represent. The past tense is important.
The trouble is that because we go by newspaper headlines on front pages, we don't get to see what's happening in this party.
The problem is many voters go by newspaper headlines and television debates. They get influenced by it. You're hoping that they will balance it with a memory that they had in December of the hope you held out, which you then betrayed, and they'll still believe you're capable of delivering what you betrayed the first time if they give you a second chance. You may be right.
Not merely by their
it looks
memory
like a very exaggerated hope.
Not merely by their memory of what they saw from from television about Delhi government, but also by their assessment of those persons who see on ground in their own district, in Karnataka, in Maharashtra, in Haryana, and everywhere else.
Okay.
Karan, I happen to travel, and I'm not given to exaggerations. I can say with full confidence, some of the finest people in public life have come and joined this party. Some of the most selfless people have come and joined, and they are sheer victory or defeat.
You may be right. This is something that we'll only know when the voting happens and the results come out. Let's move beyond.
Independent of results. The point I'm making has nothing to do with results.
Let's move beyond electoral politics to some of the other serious issues that worry and concern not just you, but many of your colleagues in the Aam Aadmi Party. I'll take up three of them one by one. First, I want to start with Arvind Kejriwal's leadership. In summer, in a letter that was famously leaked, you called him a supremo. You said the party is falling prey to the disease of a personality cult. Has Arvind Kejriwal corrected and mended his ways?
I remember the earlier interview where you spent about 10 minutes on this. Let me say that again, what I said that time. Even then I had requested you to please read that entire paragraph. You didn't have time. Please read that entire paragraph. And what it says is the following, from what I remember, I don't have the text in front of me, is the following. If there's one person who deserves to be the leader of this party, it is Arvind Kejriwal.
Absolutely. But he's still become a supremo, which is not a contradiction.
Sun to lijiye, sir. If there's one person, it is him. There is a disease of personality cult that works across parties in this case, in this country, and it actually goes on to damage those very leaders in every party. And I was saying this would work against Arvind itself.
I'm not denying he deserves to be leader of your party. I'm saying that in fact the man who deserves is become a supremo, and a supremo is not what you want. Secondly, I'm not denying there's a personality cult across parties, except that in the Aam Aadmi Party it's a very undesirable thing. Now I'm asking you a different question. Has the man who's become a supremo, or was a supremo in summer, around whom there was a personality cult, mended his ways or not? I'm just asking you a factual question.
You have an evidence sitting in front of you. Just imagine someone writing this letter to Mr. Narendra Modi. Where would you expect him today? Just imagine someone writing this letter about Rahul Gandhi. Where would you expect him today?
Because no action is taken against you, it's proof that Arvind has mended his ways.
Sir, this question was posed in a press conference to Arvind 3 days after the letter was written. Arvind gave a famous reply. You would remember that. I was sitting next to him. Here is a party where these things are debated, discussed, talked about. Okay. Please mention another party where this can happen.
I'll accept that answer. The question is, let's see if the voters do. The second issue, in summer in your letter you called it the heart of the matter, which means it's a critical issue, and what you called it was the decision-making process in the party. And this is what you wrote. Major decisions in the party appear to and indeed do reflect the wishes of one person. When he changes his mind, the party changes its course of action. Proximity to the leader comes to substitute for organizational roles and responsibilities. And then you ended, the real question is whether there are limits to the personal discretion of the leader. Has that changed?
That letter was followed by a national executive meeting of the party where this question was discussed threadbare. New norms were evolved, things changed. Have we reached an ideal situation? No. This party stands for Swaraj. Have we been able to implement the ideal of Swaraj in my party? No. We are miles away from that. And this is a party where this debate needs to be kept alive. All I can say is this is one party where these issues are being discussed. So please name another party where this...
You're still concerned about decision making?
I will continue to be concerned for the next 10 years. Everyone should be concerned. Swaraj, realizing the ideal of Swaraj within your party is not going to happen overnight.
What you're saying, shorn of terminology like Swaraj that people may or may not understand, is that decision making is not happening in the best democratic way that you would like.
I'm saying, shorn of any vocabulary that you don't understand, the following: that achieving the democratic ideal within the functioning of any political party in the world...
But let's talk about Aam Aadmi.
Please allow me to speak. Is a challenge in every single party. There are those parties which have given...
I understand. But
Karan, would you allow me to complete the sentence?
Okay, go ahead. Except that by generalizing, you're losing the point.
There are two kinds of parties, Karan. Those which do not admit of this challenge and therefore don't need to address it. There are those which admit of the challenge and try to address it. My party happens to be of the latter variety.
In a convoluted way, what you're saying to me is that decisions are not taken in the way that you would like.
Karan, in a plain speaking English, I'm saying we are the only party in the country which is taking on this challenge, which is mending its way, which is acknowledging its limitations and going ahead. But please, Karan, mention to me, now that you are so concerned about it,
so let's stick to Aam Aadmi.
Talk about others as well.
We're not talking about other parties, I'm talking
because
to you.
Politics is relative,
Maybe,
Karan.
but I'm talking to you about your party and I'm talking about your concerns.
So I'm
These are not my concerns.
I'm acknowledging to your camera, my party is less than perfect. I acknowledge. Is that
congratulate you and applaud you for that honesty, because I think it is a quality that when journalists face it, they should applaud. It's not something other politicians do easily, and I know it can't be easy for you to do, so I applaud you again. Let's come to a third.
And I would like then all your viewers to please tell me one party which is one notch better than this one.
But maybe
one notch better. I would
accept
take
that
something
we
better.
are talking about the Aam Aadmi Party, not comparing it to others. Let's come to a third issue you raised in that famous letter of yours. You said that, in fact, much of the organization is in a state of chaos. There is no clear chain of command, and the state leadership is often confused about how to get in touch with the center and take critical decisions. Has that state of chaos been repaired?
Enormously, through a most dramatic thing that the party has done, which the media doesn't care to report.
Which is?
We have something called Mission Vistar. In Mission Vistar, unlike any other party in the country, I mean, this is happening, I'm glad you gave me 1 minute to talk about it. Mission Vistar is an activity of Aam Aadmi Party where we say, okay, we started with an organization which was top downwards, but that's not our philosophy. We have to build organization bottom upwards. So all over the country, our observers have gone. All these things have been listened to, addressed, new ad hoc committees are being made, and then process of election from below.
Or have been made?
They have been made in Kerala, in Madhya Pradesh, are about to be announced in Odisha, in Maharashtra, in other places.
So when the process is over,
and
the chaos will have ended.
And this might be the first political party in the history of this country which is actually trying to implement democracy from below. Karan, you always say, I'm talking of only Aam Aadmi Party, but I'm not competing with Mars. I'm competing with political parties in India.
I accept that Operation Vistar is a commendable operation.
One of the most unusual efforts in the history of Indian political party.
Not the eating of the organization. You're saying it's in the way of being repaired. I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Finally, I want to come to Somnath Bharti. The police have charged him with molestation, outraging a woman's modesty, criminal intimidation, and promoting enmity between two groups because of his behavior in January with African women. The funny thing is, so far, as far as I can tell, there has been no response and reaction from the Aam Aadmi Party. And I ask you bluntly, as not just a founding member, but as chief spokesperson, hasn't the time come for the Aam Aadmi Party to distance itself from Mr. Bharti?
There was a judicial inquiry ordered by the Lieutenant Governor, not by us. Has the report come?
But the police have charge sheeted him.
Police might do what it likes. I'm asking you, the judicial inquiry, which is what we had said. We had said on that very day. Remember, this was not a judicial inquiry appointed by our government. We had
said... It's very interesting, the distinction you're making. You're saying you're not going to act until the judicial inquiry has reported the police action clearly, and the police charge sheeting is not enough. However, on Sunday, when Ram Shankar Katheria became a minister, with an affidavit that claims that he has 23 charges, your party was amongst the loudest in protesting. And remember, the charges that Katheria faces happened before he became a minister. The charges Bharti faces happened while he was a minister as a result of activities that purportedly he was doing as minister, and he was incidentally law minister breaking the law. Therefore, in his case, if you don't condemn him and distance yourself, people are going to turn around and say this is a hypocritical party. One standard for Katheria, quite another one for Bharti.
Karan, you're making an elementary mistake of law, which is there is something called police charging someone. The other stage is when charges are framed in a court of law.
Right. Those charges in Katheria's case have not been framed in a court of law.
I'm just saying to you,
so
the
Katheria
that
and Bharti are an equivalent example.
I held the press conference of the Aam Aadmi Party in which we had spoken about ministers. I can assure you, you can run that tape, we did not mention one sentence about that charges being framed against Mr. Kateria. We as a party, and we have followed simply the tradition set up by organizations like ADR and others, as and when charges get framed on what is a serious criminal
Bhushan was complaining on television about a man like Kateria seeing 23 charges being made a minister. The nature of the charges may be different in detail, but the fact of that they having been charge sheeted is the same. In both cases, court hasn't taken cognizance. There's no difference. Therefore, I come back. If you take one position on Kateria and another on Bharti, you're being hypocritical.
Maybe Prashant has more information about the nature of those charges. My principled stand, which the party has taken in Haryana, which we've taken everywhere, if charges have been framed by a court of law in what is a personal, not against the questions of rights and all these things that get against activists.
So you are taking a different stand in Bharti's case and a different one in Kateria's?
No,
this is hypocrisy, even if you want to gloss it over.
I'm saying that in both the cases, the party has taken a principled stand. You could say that my reading is different from Prashant's.
You protested against Kateria becoming a minister, and I'm saying to you that now that Bharti, who's been charged for things he did as minister.